Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Women in Math and STEM, where our mission is to reach out to as many professionals, aspiring professionals, students, whatever you name it. We try to reach out to them, who essentially support the initiative of bringing more women and young girls into the STEM field. So, with that being said, as always, feel free to open up the description or transcript to better follow along, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hello, and thank you so much for coming to the call today and talking with me. Just to sort of start off, do you mind introducing yourself as well as walking us through your journey to sort of get you where you are today? Get you where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Lucy. I am a junior at Johns Hopkins right now. I'm studying computer science and applied math. And for my journey, I think it depends what you kind of want to know about my journey. But I think in short, I um, kind of started off like graduating high school. I was like a little bit unsure about what I wanted to do and major in college. And so I decided to choose applied math first because I always enjoyed doing math, and I thought it would be fun to kind of do it in college and explore it a bit more. And then after that, I kept exploring and kept doing other things, picking up other jobs, other hobbies, interacting with different groups of people. And then I finally decided I wanted to add a CS major, and then I did that. I joined some engineering teams at Hopkins. For example, Hopkins iGEM is like a synthetic biology engineering team that I'm on. I'm also on HopHacks as well, so we help organize the hackathon at my school. And then just most recently, I did a software engineering internship. So I think I kind of see my future more in software engineering for right now, but I'm open to a lot of different things.
I think you mentioned that you originally was unsure, but you decided to go with math anyways. I was just wondering what sort of solidified your interest in mathematics and then later computer science.
Yeah, so I think when I was in high school again, actually maybe even a little bit before high school, maybe around like middle school time, I did like kind of like a gifted math program, and that was very cool. I'm actually from New York, so on Long Island, there's like a university, Old Westbury, they have like a program for like middle school-ish students. So I did that. And then that was very interesting for me because I was like, ooh, I think I could really enjoy math, and I really enjoy this kind of like higher level thinking in math. Um, and so that's why I decided to do applied math when I went to college. At some point, I think during my junior year of high school, that summer I ended up also like volunteering at the National Museum of Mathematics. So that's located in New York City. It's actually the only math museum in the country, which is very fun. I would recommend going if you haven't gone there already. And I really loved talking to people about math and kind of showing them like cool facts about math, showing them the different exhibits. Um, and then I came to Hopkins, did applied math, and for us, we have a very open curriculum. So I ended up taking a programming class, then I took another one my spring semester of my freshman year called intermediate programming. I really enjoyed that one. And I was like, maybe computer science could be like a viable other double major for me. It's not super uncommon for people at my school who major in applied math to also major in computer science. So I thought that that would be something really fun to just kind of try and explore more since I was already interested. And then, yeah, I haven't looked back ever since. So it's been a really fun time.
Sounds great. I think you also mentioned that you were on Hopkins iGEM and also you organize hackathons for Hopkins. I was just wondering how sort of coming from an applied math and computer science background sort of shapes or contributes to your approach to your activities outside of the classroom.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So I think Hopcats is pretty self-explanatory. So um actually I declared my CS major like the beginning of my sophomore year. And part of that was also because I decided to go to a hackathon, like my first ever hackathon the fall of my sophomore year, and it was Hop Hacks. And so I went, it was in September. And I went with a couple of friends, and I loved the entire process, even though I did not have that much like full stack computing experience. I didn't really know like front end or back end or anything like that. But my friends really walked me through kind of our entire project, and I got like a taste of like, ooh, this is like really fun. This is how we innovate within like 48 hours to come up with a really cool solution. So I think that was like a really like pivotal thing for me. And that's kind of also why I decided to stick with CS. So then later, I actually decided to like apply to be an organizer because I really wanted to kind of give that experience to other people. And so yeah, like kind of being a CS major, doing hop hacks, it like kind of goes hand in hand with each other. So I think yeah, it's honestly given me like a greater opportunity to also meet other CS majors that I might not have otherwise. So that was a great experience for me. And then for Hopkins iGEM, I think it's a little bit different because it's like a synthetic biology club, so it really has nothing to do with either of my majors. But it's again like a great way for me to meet people outside of my major. And it also forces me. So I think for applied math and computer science, you're really doing a lot of like rigorous, heavy like problem solving. So I also get to do a little bit of that through Hopkins iGEM, because synthetic biology solutions are not necessarily always straightforward. Sometimes you have to go through like a very long process to kind of get where you want to go. And so I really enjoy that process with working on like a synthetic biology project. And then yeah, I think it's a little bit different because I like kind of train my leadership skills through the club instead. Yeah.
I see. And then sort of as a junior, I was just wondering what you think like you'll be doing like once you graduate or like in terms of like just the future.
Yeah, I think I get asked that question like literally like 5 times a day. Because everyone just wants to know like what's happening in the future, what's gonna happen. And so I think for a while I was kind of on the fence about grad school because I was like, maybe I'll do like, like Hopkins offers like 3+1 or 4+1. So you could easily do your master's degree like right after you graduate. So I was thinking about that for a while. Then I didn't really know like what I wanted my degree to be in. And then I started to like go into industry a little bit more, and like kind of think about that. So I think the plan for me now is kind of to still just graduate in 4 years, do both of my degrees, and go into industry, hopefully in software engineering. But I'm kind of like open to potentially other things, like potentially data science, potentially like anything like AI, ML related. Um, and then maybe eventually when I finally like decide for myself, do I want to do like a computer science master's or do I want to do like maybe more of like a applied math master's kind of thing? Then I'll go back to grad school. I was even like thinking this past month, what if I do an MBA? That could be fun. So I think I'm like leaving my options open, but I kind of want to just graduate and go into industry for right now.
Sounds good. And then I feel like this question's sort of broad, but it's like interesting. So I was just wondering, like, what sort of challenges have you encountered like along your journey and sort of how you overcame them?
Yeah. Do you have any like specific challenges you'd like to hear about? Because I have many, many challenges that I've encountered. Yeah.
Sure, maybe like social or like academic.
Social or academic? Yeah. Okay, I think one good lesson I like to talk about is just kind of thinking about your grades because I think as a high schooler, I would definitely put myself in the box of like overachiever, right? Like perfectionist, that kind of thing. And I think like the part of New York that I came from, it was not super hard to like be the top of my class. It's not like like a crazy thing to like, kind of do the things that I was doing and like have good grades. Obviously like coming to Hopkins, now it's like a much tighter pool of like people who are also really, really smart and can do everything you can do, but a little bit better. So I think that is like, not that I wasn't expecting that, but even so, even expecting it, I think there was like an adjustment period of like mentally you have to be like, okay, it's not that I'm not smart, it's just that everyone else is also really smart. So sometimes that just makes me seem like very average, which is fine, which is a good thing. And I think if you can kind of learn to thrive in that kind of environment, you can actually really grow from that. I think a lot of my friends have taught me so many things, like not even just academically, that have allowed me to grow as a person. So I think when you come to college, I don't want to say that grades don't matter. I think grades do matter, but you should still try. You should still go to class, go to office hours. But I think it's you kind of have to like put yourself in perspective a little bit more. Your world is a little bit wider. Now you're kind of taking care of yourself. You also have to go to class. You might have other responsibilities. You might have a part-time job. So just balancing all of these things, just make sure to like be kind to yourself and just keep things in check. So I think that's a big academic lesson that I learned. And also, again, learning like now I actually need to have priorities because it's actually impossible to like do everything, whereas in high school maybe it was easier to do all of that because your parents were there to like take care of you and like do your laundry for you. Like now you have to do all of this. So yeah, just balancing your priorities is super important too.
Sounds good. And then just to sort of end off, I was wondering if you had any pieces of advice, suggestions, recommendations, honestly anything for students who are interested in pursuing a career in like math or CS.
Any suggestions or advice for people trying to do math or CS? I think it's hard in, well, you guys are still kind of young, but um it's hard to say right now because the market is not super ideal to be kind of going into computer science. I'm sure you've heard. I actually think math, the reason why I also didn't apply math degree is because I think in any situation, like math is still going to be relevant. Like it's not like math is disappearing tomorrow, and it's not like math is not going to be not trendy tomorrow. Like math is kind of always going to be here. So it was a very safe degree for me to do. And then also, yeah, for computer science, I think is harder because everyone now wants to go into CS, right? Um, but I think if you, what I actually enjoyed about my progression is that I think, you know, had I started off, you know, CS, maybe I would have gotten tired or burnt out of it, like by the time that I got to like my junior year, because I would have just been like thinking about CS over time. So I like that my journey was kind of organic. So I think if you're thinking about these degrees, just make sure that you are doing them because you enjoy them and not necessarily because you're doing them just to do them because it's kind of the thing to do right now. I know that a lot of people say that, but I do actually think it's true because it will kind of reflect in the activities you do. It will reflect in your classwork. It will reflect in the friends that you make. It'll reflect in your attitudes towards a lot of things. So I think that's probably like my biggest advice is to just really make sure that this is something that you're actively choosing and not something that other people are telling you to do.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. It was absolutely fantastic talking to you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, it was great to talk to you too. Yeah, and let me know if you ever have any other questions or anything else you want to talk about.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Okay.